Welcome to the Pulse of Jonesboro. I am Jeremy Terrell, and I am your host, and I appreciate you tuning in. Let's get into today's topic, and really today's topic is about unity. And is there unity? I've been talking a little bit in some past episodes about Jonesboro and who we are and the direction that I believe that would benefit Jonesboro as a whole. But I also want to talk about unity because I think that that's a huge situation going on within Jonesboro. And the question is there unity within Jonesboro and even within Craighead? And the truth of the matter is I don't believe that there's a lot of unity. And I'll give you some examples. ASU is getting bigger attendance as far as some of our games going. Baseball has some local kids, and so that's really boosted baseball, and they've got a new coach, so there's some excitement there. Basketball was doing great this year, way more attendance, probably in between 2 to 4 times as much as what there used to be. Football's up and down, but they've always had a decent attendance, but they're not racking in like they probably should. But anyways, with all that being said, if you go to a different university that we play that's in the Sun Belt, and you go to their baseball or basketball or whatever it may be, let's just say baseball, it's a little bit more when you go in and you're sitting there. You've got the fences and all kinds of different stuff. And the other cities are just so bought in to the university. There's a cohesion there. And the paint the town red and certain things like that is a great idea. And we've kind of lost that since the best painter retired doing that. But there's no unbelievable cohesion between our town and ASU. And it's been like that for a very long time. And this isn't just my opinion. This is a lot of people within ASU, a lot of people within the city. There's not a lot of cohesion. And you can broaden that out even, and you can say, is there a cohesion between the Chamber of Commerce and our city and ASU? And then is there a big connection with our manufacturing facilities in that area of Jonesboro? Is there a cohesion? Is there communication between the hospitals and the city and the A&P and so forth and so on? And the truth of the matter is no, there's not. And that's a huge problem with Jonesboro. It's a big problem with ASU, and one of the reasons why ASU struggles in a lot of ways trying to get people to their events and stuff. And they're getting a little bit wiser, I think, because they're recruiting from within Northeast Arkansas, and if they continue to do that, some of their attendance will continue to rise. And if they continue to win, some of that will rise. But what's crazy, too, is we are a sports town in a lot of ways. And proof is go to Friday night football games at high schools or basketball games. And if you go to a Jonesboro Nettleton game or a Nettleton Valley View game, it's packed, standing room only for the most part. And that's a great thing. And you know that we love our sports, we love our kids, and there's a lot of support there. And it doesn't trickle over into ASU, so to speak, up until just lately. And again, when you win, it's bigger, but also when you've got local talent, that makes a big difference. But we are a sports town. And again, I've said this on a past episode, we're a blue-collar town. The majority of the people here are blue-collar. Some of the top grossing things that we've experienced here in Northeast Arkansas is rodeos, WWE, monster trucks, country music. It's not always country music concerts, but those seem to be the biggest draws. And Barbecue Fest used to be unbelievable, and it's fallen some this last couple of years. And maybe they need to really revamp that and try to bring in something different. And I'm not saying get rid of Barbecue Fest. I'm just saying do something different to increase that excitement. Barbecue Fest actually is probably the biggest draw as far as just pure numbers of anything that we do within Jonesboro. But with that being said, it's really dropped off the last couple of years. And so it's a little concerning, I know, to those that are in charge and involved in that. And downtown, same thing. They want that, and some places count on that. But there's no real vision, and there's nobody really driving that vision. And if there's a couple of different people within the city that have some vision, and for some reason they're not included in a lot of the decision making or the future planning or whatever it is in order to move Jonesboro in a different direction, there's a lot of backbiting, there's a lot of finger pointing, and at some point in time we all got to act like adults. Right now I would say the majority like their space and they feel comfortable in their space and they don't want to get out of their space, and that's a problem. That's a really big problem. And until those that are in charge and moving Jonesboro forward, if they don't come together with everybody at the table, it's never going to happen. That's just truth. And so I'm just reaching out, and I'm hoping some of them are listening, and I'm hoping some of them's egos aren't big enough that they just hunker in and dig their heels in the ground. I really hope that they're listening and they scratch their head and say, yeah, he's right. We do need to bring everybody to the table. We do need to reach out to the manufacturing area of Jonesboro and bring them to the table. We do need to reach out to the school and bring them to the table. We need to reach out to the hospitals and bring them to the table. We need to reach out to everybody, bring them to the table, and have real serious conversations about how we can be cohesive in the direction that we're moving as a city. The saddest thing is you got a couple of different areas that we got to improve on, and that's it. But we're not moving the needle. We're not moving the needle. Yeah, we bought another park. But are we moving the needle of Jonesboro? We're talking about doing some road expansions. My goodness, can you just fix the doggone roads we've got? That would be fantastic if we could just do that. Can we manage what we have and manage it really well? And then let's talk about some expansion. My goodness, you can drive around here at lunchtimes or before work or after work, and there's, I would say, 15 different intersections that are jammed, packed, and they need attention. But let's go ahead and just build another road. I don't really get it. But again, it's the leadership. And I'm not even saying that in their little box of the world that they're in, they don't do an okay job. But this is bigger. When you want to go 100,000, which I can tell you, we got to stop talking about going 100,000 people because we're not ready for it, number one. Number two, we're not attracting the people that we want to attract in and people that are going to contribute. And we can't manage what we have and at a level that really moves the needle in Jonesboro. And this isn't just Jeremy saying this. I have met with ASU people. I've met with city employees and a lot of different business people. And they all say the same thing. No cohesion. We don't work with one another. The city council doesn't work with the mayor. I don't even get that. The mayor and the county judge, they don't really work with each other. It's just a mess. It just really is. And at some point in time, you, the people, have got to get involved at a level that really pushes the people that are in office to do and make better decisions. My last episode, I talked about some of the things that we got in Jonesboro that are supposed to push the needle that are not pushing the needle. Again, those things are paid by our money. And if it's paid by taxpayers' money, they should be highly efficient and productive. And for the most part, with the exception of a very small amount, they're not productive. They're not highly effective. I can tell you the effectiveness of bringing different jobs into Jonesboro lately has been, we've lost a lot. We've lost a lot of opportunities. We should be growing the opportunities to have way more factories and things like that. Where we're at geographically is perfect to have lots and lots of different things here. And we don't. And I'm not sure why. We've given a lot of different statistics over the last episodes, and I just encourage you guys to go listen to them, talking about the direction, talking about who's in charge, talking about why we don't move the way we should be moving. And the truth is we don't know. We've got a few people that are heck bent on going in this direction. And no matter what anybody says, that's the direction we're going. And at some point in time, we got to put the brakes on and say, whoa, wait a minute, time out. Is this really moving the needle in Jonesboro? And we put in sidewalks a year ago. And if you go look at those roads where those sidewalks are, they've made little to no difference. But yet we're just going to continue down that pathway because people read that if you do that, it's going to make things better. It hasn't. Does that mean 2 or 3 years down the road it's going to make things better? What's the time frame? Has anybody on the city council done research about the direction that we're going? There's some people on the city council that I like, that are personally, I think they're great people, and they probably do some of their own research. But I can tell you this, we should put the brakes on a lot of the things we're doing. We should back up and we should say, what is it that we really need to be doing, and where are we going, and how are we going to get there? And then truly make measurable steps so that we can make sure that if we're moving in that direction, we're spending millions of dollars to do it, that it's actually making a difference. Because I can tell you, the things that I'm watching, the things that I've seen in the last couple of years, it's not moving the needle in the right direction. I don't know how many people in Jonesboro have to talk about this. I can't go to a situation where I'm trying to grab some data and have some conversations with business people and city people and get any other thing other than, no, we're not headed in the right direction. I'll take that back. I've had a couple that would be like, oh, I think it's going okay. And that's the guy that hasn't crossed out of their bubble, out of their little area, their community, and they leave their house and they go to work. And then they leave work and they go back to their house, and they may go to the country club and may get on their jet and fly to go eat somewhere. And that guy thinks it's okay. But the normal people, the normal Joes, nobody's saying it's okay. Nobody's saying we're moving in the right direction. We literally okay everything as a city council. Everything. I know businesses that are locally owned businesses that are struggling because we don't say no to anything, restaurants included. Every restaurant in the world can come here. We can only sustain so many restaurants. It's just facts. That's just mathematical facts. But we're going to say yes to anyone that wants to come in. And maybe you're scratching your head and be like, that's a good thing or bad. The argument is this: if we have locally owned restaurants that are good restaurants, and I'm not saying if they're horrible that we should act like they're not, if they're horrible, but we don't. We have a lot of really good restaurants. But if we continue to saturate it, we're going to lose some of these great restaurants. We have. But there's no real leadership. I'm looking, guys. I'm asking people. I'm asking tons of who should know people of who is leading our town, our county, or the direction we're going. There's the obvious people, obviously the people that are in the positions, but the truth is, what are you leading us to? Where are you? Like, where's your presence? Do we see you? Do we hear from you regularly? Do we know what in the world is going on? And the answer is no, we don't. And we continue to do the same thing. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different outcome. And that is what we are doing. We are doing the same thing every year, expecting it to get better. Oh, this time around it's going to be better. Oh, wait, this time around it's going to be better. And it's not. It hasn't been. Please go to my Facebook or something and put in there what's really improving. Just one of you guys. And let's have a conversation about it. And say, what in the world is it that is massively improving within our community? I want to know. Our schools are not going in the right direction. Our crime is definitely not going in the right direction. Our leadership, we don't even know. We don't hear from them. We had 2 city councilmen I'll give credit where credit is due, and they both deserve credit for this. They had a town hall, and they answered good questions, and it was really successful. The chief of police came out. He answered questions. It was really successful, and it was really impactful probably in their districts. They got a lot of information out to those that showed up, and that's a whole nother other issue. But anybody else? Anybody else from city council? It was a great thing that happened. Anybody else going to do it? We'd love to hear from you. We'd love to know what in the world it is that you're planning within your districts. And again, I've got some friends on there, and I think some are doing good. Go look at some city council meetings. Some of the guys are trying to hold them accountable. But the problem, the rest of them are just rubber stampers, and they have no vision. A couple of them have some vision, but it's so hard to get anything going because of all the other convoluted like bullcrap. I'm like going on a kind of a tangent here, but it's frustrating because this isn't Jeremy. This is me going around having conversations with business owners, with people that have been in our community, with people that have led the community when it was thriving and growing. And right now we're not cohesive. And don't get me wrong, like politically, boundaries have really gotten to a point where nobody wants to work with one another. Dan Sullivan's town hall is a perfect example of that he had a couple weeks ago. If you haven't seen it, go to, I think KLEK has a recording of it on their Facebook. But there's a couple of good conversations in there for the most part, but there was nobody solving any problems there. Let's just put it that way. There was no bridges being built. And I'm not putting that all on Dan. I'm saying that the political climate is so bad that a lot of people went there from the different side of the political aisle to ask tough questions, and that it just didn't gel right. And you had a couple people there that were there just to poke and see what they could do. The political climate doesn't allow us to work together. It just doesn't. You guys heard me say it on the last episode. The mayor wanted me to be involved in a couple of different things within the city after he was elected, and it's almost June. I haven't heard from him. Don't really expect to. Maybe I will. I don't know. But it's June, and the truth is they just want my support. They don't really want to move the needle. If they did, they would reach across lines that they maybe don't 100% agree with, but people that are highly effective, maybe they would join up with. Let's go to the homeless thing. I know a couple of people that have money and wanted to put forth their own money and develop something for the homeless. Yeah, they didn't get one call back from the city. Not one. And I started this episode talking about cohesion. I got a little bit off, but not really, because again, it's like everybody's a know-it-all and everybody's we're going to do it this way. I read a statistic that bike paths make towns better. I told you guys in a couple of episodes, bike paths make towns better when the whole town jumps in and says, yeah, let's do bike paths. That they've been real successful. And the ones that got bike paths shoved down their throat aren't successful. And they haven't been successful. And so if you're going to read a statistic, read both sides of the statistic. Bike paths aren't going to make Jonesboro any better. This is facts, okay? Is it going to make people that bike better? Yeah, they'll love bike paths. Can we put in some bike paths as we go? Sure. But we have to do other things. We still got a sports complex that is not finished. We have all kinds of ideas and people that want to do things there if it was finished. And now we got this possibility coming to help finish it because we may be partnering up with whatever. But it's like we designed it and we were going to finish it, but we don't ever finish it. And so, man, we're good starters, but we don't finish. We don't finish. Guys, it's daunting when you go out there and talk and you ask questions and you really sit down and you go to lunch with people and you really want to know what's going on, and then you get the feedback and it's not good. I get a bad rap a little bit because people are like, are you going to say anything good about Jonesboro? Listen, I love Jonesboro. We're still raising kids. It's been great for me. I've been self-employed since 99, and it's been really good to me and my family. And I love Jonesboro. The problem is that I see the direction we're going. Let me give you another example. Blytheville years and years ago was actually growing and thriving more than Jonesboro was. And a hospital wanted to come in. I believe it was Methodist back in the time or whatever, but hospital wanted to come in. And a group of people came together and said, "No, we don't want no hospital. We don't want all that jazz coming into our town, and that'll be bringing people in, and that we don't want." And that's the biggest mistake Blytheville ever made, because they said no, and guess what? Everything else said no. And Blytheville's been declining ever since then. Ever since then, they've been declining off of one decision that they make. And then that cascaded, obviously, into bad decision after bad decision, and then they tried to play catch up. And you guys heard me say before that, when you lose a school district and when you lose a couple other things, you just don't come back. And that's what's happened. They may have to completely implode in order to build something back. And don't get me wrong, they've got some good things going on in Blytheville. But I just read the other day that 50% of graduates can't read past sixth grade or something like that. Do not quote me on that. But it was something in that realm. And how do you go back from that? It's really tough. And the problem is here is, what direction are our schools going? What direction are they? Or do you know? That's a big question too, is do you know? And if you don't, I would suggest that you find out. And why are our schools not going in the right direction? I can tell you why. That's a whole nother episode. And if you guys want a whole episode on schools, I would be more than willing to give you that whole episode. I could do probably 3 episodes on why our schools are failing. But why are we failing as a city? It's because we're failing in multiple areas. And again, back to what I was saying at the very beginning of this podcast, we have no cohesion. We have nobody communicating with other groups and bringing everybody to the table and talking about real, true, factual evidence of how we're going to get from where we're at and put us in the right direction. Nobody's doing that. They're going out here and they're looking at, again, you guys have heard me say this, I'm so sick and tired of people saying something about Fayetteville, but they look at Fayetteville and they're like, look what they've done. And I'm like, quit saying that. Quit. Because, and some of my dearest friends say that, but you got to quit saying it. We do not have the resources. Not even close. So, how do we become the best version of Jonesboro? It's not by wishing we were Fayetteville or doing what Fayetteville's doing, because we aren't Fayetteville. We don't have the resources. So stop. If you want to talk about a town, go out and find a town that's more representative of Jonesboro and see how they're becoming successful or staying successful or are successful. Back to the whole thing about our schools. Nobody's talking to our schools. The mayor's not calling the superintendents and saying, hey, what are we doing in order to move in the right direction? It's not happening. I can tell you stories after stories over the last 10, 15 years in the schools. It's mind-boggling to me. And I'll go back to the statement I just said. It's insanity. It's doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different outcome. I don't get it. And there's a lot of people working really hard to try to get Jonesboro in the right direction. There really is. And some business owners and some other. The problem, again, is they may be just on the fringe now. They used to be in the in, or in the know, or in the whatever, and now they're not anymore. They're on the outside fringe, and nobody's listening to them. And then they get mad, and they get their feelings hurt, and then they don't want to listen to anybody else. They're just like, they won't even listen to me, and so they give up. And Nobody's bringing them back to the table. Nobody's like, say, whoa, time out. Come back to the table. I'm sorry for my part in this. Let's bring this and build bridges back together. It's not happening. Not in Jonesboro. And the only way it's going to change is when you guys get involved at a level that we start telling them what's going on and what we demand as the people paying all of these people's salaries. That's when it's going to change. We're not doing that right now. I had an incident back in last year this time, okay, within the city. And Jonesboro had a prank, a senior prank that's been done for, I can't even tell you how long, forever. It went bad. Some kids did some dumb things. The majority of the kids didn't do anything bad. You had a handful that did some really dumb things. Lo and behold, a bunch of people got in trouble. Nobody would talk to the parents. Nobody. Board wouldn't talk to the parents. The superintendent wouldn't talk to the parents. Nobody would talk to the parents. So I go to social media and I say a few things. Everybody's mad about how bad the prank was, which is 100% legit. Like that was a debacle from every direction. I put out some statistics and I say, hey, here's our statistics on reading and writing and everything else. And y'all are mad about a football game. But you're not mad about how poorly we're doing. You're not mad that we're a D school. Nope, could care less. It's kind of like the jail. Don't get me wrong, like the county freaking screwed up on that deal and is continuing to screw up on that deal. But our judges can't do the job, and yet we got nobody out there telling the truth. It's, hey, let's try to get a jail tax passed without telling the truth. Let's lie to them and see if they'll vote for it. And that's just dumb. And then we're sitting here in the same position. Our judges can't do their job because we have no room in our jails. And have you guys heard anything about a jail? I have, only because I've talked to some people. Hey, let's just wait till voting season and talk about it. If you start talking about it now, start telling the truth, we're going to get on board and probably fix this problem. But I don't know what you guys are doing. So, guys, I'm sorry that this is more of a kind of a tangent. I didn't mean for it to be that. But the truth is, we do have some real leaders and true leaders. The problem is they've been knocked down and shut down so many times. So it's really difficult for them. And currently those that are in the position to lead aren't leading. So I don't know what to do except get on this microphone every week and hold them accountable. And one day they're going to listen and they're going to hear, and you guys keep listening, and I appreciate that. But one day they're going to listen to us. It's inevitable. Guys, I appreciate you guys tuning in. Please share this. We're going to post a couple of things on Facebook, and we'll get better with some of our other social media, but and share it and pass it on and tell people about it, because the more that this grows, the better chance we have of taking Jonesboro in the direction that it needs to go. And that's the way that the people really want it. And we got to hold our elected officials accountable, and anybody else out there that's a leader that has taken a role, whether they were elected or not, but somehow have integrated themselves into our town as the leaders. We love you. We care about you. We pray for you. Stay in touch. Stay in tune. And we will see you next week.